I'm Joel Miller.
And I'm Jamey Bennett.
And this is Bad Books of the Bible.
It's a podcast about a collection of books with a curious pedigree and an even stranger legacy.
Today's episode contains a reading from the Wisdom of Solomon, read by Father Alexis Kouri, host of Daily Orthodox Scriptures on Ancient Faith Radio.
The Wisdom of Solomon, Chapter 13. For all men, while ignorant of God, were useless in their condition. So, from the good things that are seen, they were unable to know him who exists, nor did they know the craftsman by paying attention to his works. But they supposed that the gods who rule the world were either fire or wind or swift air, or the circle of the stars, or violent water, or the luminaries of heaven. If while delighting in their beauty men assume them to be gods, let them know how much better than these things is their Lord, for the Creator of beauty created them. And if they were amazed at their power and working, let them understand from them how much more powerful than these is he who made them. For from the greatness and beauty of created things, the Creator is seen by analogy. Nevertheless, there is little reason for complaint against them, for perhaps they go astray while seeking God and wish to find him. For as they live among his works, they examine them closely and are persuaded by what they see, because the things they see are beautiful. However, they are not to be excused, for if they were able to know so much with their ability to investigate the world, how is it possible they did not quickly find the Lord of all things? But they are miserable, and so are their hopes in dead things. Those who call gods the works of men's hands, gold, silver, and the practice of craftsmanship, and the likeness of animals, or a worthless stone of an ancient hand, but also if some carpenter saws down an easily moved tree and skillfully scrapes away all its bark, he then builds a useful vessel, beautifully made by his skill for the service of the living, and uses up the cast-off pieces of his trade to prepare his food and be filled. But a cast-off piece from among them, useful for nothing, that grew up with the tree, crooked and full of knots, he takes and carves with care in his leisure, and forms it with intelligent skill, and models it in the likeness of a man. Or he likens it to some worthless animal, and smears it with bright red paint, making its surface red, covering every blemish in it with paint. Then he makes a room fitting for it, and puts it on a wall, and fastens it with iron nails that it may not fall. He takes care of it, knowing that it cannot help itself, for it is an image that has need of help. When he prays about his possessions, his marriage, and his children, he is not ashamed to speak to a lifeless thing, and he appeals to a weak thing concerning his health. Concerning life he prays to something dead, concerning aid he supplicates something ignorant, and concerning a journey something that cannot take a step. Concerning means of livelihood, profit and success with his hands, he requests bodily strength from something powerless with its hands. The Wisdom of Solomon, Chapter 14. Again, someone getting ready for a voyage, and about to sail through wild waves, cries out loud to a piece of wood, more fragile than the ship that carries him. For it was desire for gain that contrived that boat, and wisdom was the craftsman who built it. But your providence, O Father, governs its course, because you have given it a path in the sea and a safe track in the waves, showing that you can save from every danger, and that even without skill one may embark upon the sea. For you do not will that the works of your wisdom be useless. Therefore men trust their lives even to the smallest piece of wood, and passing through the waves on a ship, they are brought safely through. For even in the beginning, when arrogant giants perished, the hope of the world took refuge in a boat, and piloted by your hand it left to the world the seed of a family. For the wood was blessed through which righteousness comes. But what was made by human hands itself is accursed, and so is he who made it. He because he made it, and the perishable thing because it was called a god. For equally hateful to God are the ungodly man and his ungodliness. For what was done will be punished along with him who did it. Therefore there shall be a visitation upon the idols of the nations, because though the wood was part of God's creation, it was made into an abomination, and became a stumbling block for the souls of men, and a trap for the feet of fools. For the invention of idols was the beginning of fornication, and the conception of them the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, nor shall they be forever. For by the vain glory of mankind they entered the world, and therefore their speedy end has been planned. For a father consumed with untimely grief when the child was soon taken from him, made an image of the once dead human being, and honored him now as a god, and handed down to those under him secret mysteries and initiations. Then the ungodly custom, strengthened by time, was kept as a law. And at the command of tyrants, carved images were worshipped. When men could not honor a tyrant before his face, because he lived far away, they imagined his face from a distance, and made a visible image of the honored king, that by their zeal they might flatter the one absent as though present. Then the ambition of the craftsmen encouraged even those who did not know the king to increase their worship, for wishing perhaps to please the one who ruled over him, he skillfully forced the likeness into a more beautiful form, and the multitude, attracted by the popularity of his work, now considered him as an object of worship, whom a short time before they honored as a man. But this became a trap for their life, because men in bondage either to calamity or to kingly power conferred on stones and wood a name not shared with another. Furthermore, it was not enough for them to be deceived about the knowledge of God, but they live in a great conflict of ignorance, and they call such evils peace. For they either hold child-murdering rites of initiation, or celebrate secret mysteries, or engage in the frantic revelry of special customs. Moreover, they keep neither life nor marriages pure, but one either kills another in ambush, or one causes another grief when he corrupts his marriage. Everything is mixed together: blood and murder, theft and treachery, depravity, unfaithfulness, tumult, perjury, confusion over what is good, ingratitude, corruption of family, breakup of marriages, disorder, adultery, and debauchery. For the worship of idols not to be named is the beginning, cause, and end of every evil. For either they are driven to a frenzy in their celebrations, or prophesy lies, or live unrighteously, or readily swear falsely. For since they trust in lifeless idols, they swear with wrong motives and expect to suffer no harm. But justice will catch up with them on two counts, because they thought wrongly about God and their devotion to idols, and by treating holiness with contempt, they swore unjustly in deceit. For it is not the power of making oaths, but the punishment of those who sin, that always prosecutes the transgression of the unrighteous.
Thanks for listening to today's reading. Father Alexis Kouri's podcast, Daily Orthodox Scriptures, can be heard on Ancient Faith Radio.
You can find our podcast, along with show notes, our mailing list, our Twitter feed, and our Ancient Faith homepage, all linked at badbooksofthebible.com.
I'm Jamey Bennett.
And I'm Joel Miller.
And you've been listening to Bad Books of the Bible,
a production of Ancient Faith Radio. Tune in next time to listen in on our conversation about this very passage.